Bonjour! It's here! It's Pokémon Legends ZA time! I beat the entirety of the brand new adventure in all of its beautiful glory for the Switch 2, including all of the story, the side quests, complete the Professor Oak's challenge, as well as obtaining every single Mega Evolution. Some look awesome, and others, well, very questionable. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, strap yourselves in. It's going to be a wild ride. Hit the subscribe button for more Pokemon Legends ZA, but for now, here's what happened. Right off the bat, you get to customize your own trainer, and I wanted to have a simple and elegant taste to the beautiful Lumiose City. Yep, that'll do. The game starts with two trainers saying something has gone wrong at the prison tower, and in Lumiose City there can no longer be any more issues when all of a sudden the tower glows in purple and AZ sets a plan to find the strongest Mega Evolution trainer. The next morning, the character pans around in the train station and then jumps in my bag, indicating a Pokemon of some sort, perhaps? Maybe cobwebs. Eventually, our train arrives in Lumiose City, and I have to say, the graphics look amazing. Such a huge upgrade to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I walk through the gates to the title on screen, Pokémon Legends ZA, and I arrive in the City of Light, Lumiose City. Already walking into a lot of life, and three Pokemon caught my eye with a trainer, Chikorita, Tepig, and Totodile. I overhear the conversation looking for a tourist for Hotel Z, and it just so happens I'm the guy they want. I kinda like where this is going, but I have to jump on a chute when all of a sudden the billboard starts playing an advertisement. Well, so much for a quick smoochie. This brings us to the normal Pokemon scene like you normally get with a professor. However, this is Jet, the CEO of Quasartico Incorporated. And well, from there it's your usual introduction to the world of Pokemon. This time they are getting through their urban redevelopment plans to allow Pokemon and people to live in harmony within the capital of Kalos. All of a sudden, during that, my bag gets nick-picked by none other than this cheeky Pancham. Well, this is typical. You start a new adventure in Paris, technically, and you get pickpocketed. Sounds about right. So there we are, chasing down through alleyways to find two more trainers, and now knowing each other on first-name basis, Tawny helps us to stop them before they smuggle my belongings to the police. The two trainers, Andre and Andy, want to fight, and if we win, we get our bag back. Not really a fair contest, but sure, whatever. This gives me the opportunity to choose my starter Pokemon. I'll be honest, I haven't had a Scooby-Doo on which Pokemon that I wanted to use. I haven't used any of them in a very long time. But, however, I think I've made up my mind. I have an idea for what my team is going to look like. Fairly similar to the X and Y video I have made, but slightly different. So I start with the Water-type starter, Totodile. They are each in for a battle, and with my decision ready, this is probably where I'm going to absolutely suck. And so it's the Pancham against our newest starter, and these battles in the game are in real time. So we gotta keep moving. And to be honest, this means status moves are gonna become more important. To my surprise, we had won, and au revoirs were exchanged. This means I get to have my bag back. Come on! Wait, am I missing something? Yeah, a fist bump! Oh, I thought you wanted a cheeky little peck. From what was supposed to be a fist bump turned out to be a fist to the face, Totodile looks very amused and even gives us a high five. Night, however, falls and the battle zones activate. Basically, if we get caught here, we're forced to battle. The other two starters flee to safety with our bag as we make our way back to the hotel. However, along the way, we do get caught up by a waitress demanding the battle despite Tawny trying to get us out of this mess. We just have to step up and take her on, and it wasn't a fair fight. Her Cleffa was a piece of cake. However, we're getting outmatched with a second Pokemon, Bunnelby. And yeah, they are getting tough and smart, but we were able to simply take her down, giving us a win. She goes off in a strop and called us useless, allowing us to escape. However, as I follow Tawny, there's even more problems, and even more trainers are awaiting us. The three trainers are intimidating, but a black Floette comes out of nowhere and shows just how aggressive Tawny actually is. They look at each other, then Scarpe. Your shoes are untied! This Floette is very special and helps us make our way to the hotel, outside of the troublesome battle zones. There we meet up with AZ, the manager of this fine establishment, and the bag was safe and sound. Though a little bit of goo wriggles away. I almost forgot how tall AZ is, though him and Floette are 3,000 years old after all. States I am here for a purpose, then gives us our own keys, allowing ourselves and our croc to get some rest for the night. Or not, because I get to knock on the door to Tawny wanting us to head up to the roof and see the wondrous views of the City of Light. Definitely apologizes about punching me, and then we finally fist bump, ready for our adventure the next morning, and then the camera pans to the weird goo once more. To AZ, that goo is actually a Zygarde cell, and the next morning, I'm invited to compete in the ZA Royale to become the strongest trainer. I nervously accept and join Team MZ, and now my luck is looking... I don't really like green. But now that I'm signed up for the Battle Royale and my goal is set, to climb from Z all the way to A at the top. I also meet another member of the team, Lyda, before I get dragged outside by Tawny for another battle. She starts with Tepig, and because I have the advantage, a couple of water guns were enough to take it down. But even I have to take on Chikorita. Even though I have the disadvantage with Tackle and Leah, we're able to take it down with little trouble. So with us fairly confident with the battling system now, I wander around the Vert sector to arrive at the nearest Pokemon Center. There, I can not only obviously heal, but grab my Pokédex app. Now we're able to roam around the city and grab some Pokemon, and there are a ton of them to catch. But for now, let me know down below in the comments which starter out the 3 is your favorite, and what you choose for your new Legends ZA adventure. One more favor to ask. I'm going to be blitzing so much content on this new title, and it would mean the world to me if you guys would join my adventures. I hate the whole look at this graph thing, but it can clearly make a difference. So if you are excited, be sure to hit the subscribe button, ding on the notification bell. It's free, and you can change your mind at any point. To be successful in the team, I'm going to need a strong roster of squad members by my side to deal with the threats of the city and become the very best of them all. What I have learned during battling is that the lower the speed of your Pokemon, be for a base starts or lowered starts from moves such as String Shot, slows down your move recharge. I arrive at the Pokemon Research Lab to be able to claim my prize for catching 5 different Pokemon. Expecting to see Professor Sycamore, however this guy claims he has since resigned from this post. So I head up to see the actual sighting nitwit! Oh, well, I meet the new professor of the Kalos region. This is Mabel, who is clearly stressed about her work. However, this is how we get our TMs. So I first grab the TM for Rock Smash. However, this includes experience candies, bottle caps, and even the shiny charm. So it's definitely a good idea to get researching. When I leave, I meet another Team MZ member called Naveen, who gives us a striped hat. And then I get a call to teach Rock Smash to the bunny. This means I can catch Pichu on the other side, but before I do, I catch Pidgey, and then Pichu just a few minutes later. Although that's okay, because I managed to find Kakuna, as well as a Floette of my very own, and an Abra, before trying again to catch myself Pichu. I return to the hotel to grab some croissants with my new girlfriend, before all of a sudden, I get my first matchup in the ZA Battle Royale against Zach. Feeling brave as I'll ever be, I get stuck right into the dangers of the battle zones. When the sun falls, loads of battle zone routes open up for me to take on. So far, only one battle zone is active, so I make my way over there and follow the team. I need 1,000 points for a challenger's ticket, so I can compete against Zach. Literally, as soon as I go around the corner, I get ambushed and hit hard by none other than a Bellsprout. A Bellsprout. Of all things, I quickly have to react fast, return a Totodile to Fletchling, and hitting a quick attack followed by a peck to take it out. I managed to spot the next trainer and allow myself to have the upper hand, and this worked wonders, allowing me to stun this bunny rabbit and make quick work of his bird, and rather fairly ambush the last trainer, which I found quite amusing. With that, we claimed 1,000 points, allowing us to compete in the promotional match. But there was one trainer left, so I sneak up on her and get absolutely destroyed. Luckily for me, I can simply run away to safety, unlike the other Pokemon games. Some Pokemon and people prefer the shade, you know? You do realize, it's nightfall. Eventually, I meet with Zach, ready to start climbing up through the rankings. And let's just say this is going to be a piece of gâteau against a piece of gâteau. He starts with Slowpoke, and I switch out to Mareep to paralyze, followed by hitting hard Thunder Shocks to take him out, followed by his Pidgey. This leaves Pikachu, so I switch out to my Bonnie for coverage and to hit hard Mud Shots to take him down. He loses for the 100th time, making him one big noob. With that, we rank up to rank Y. Nice. I meet yet another girl called Emma, not part of the team, but a detective to preserve the peace of the city. Flies on over and then runs off to call it a night. I think we should too. I return to the hotel with a huge plate of, well, more pastry and curry? I think I'll pass on that one. I have to agree with Naveen right there. The next morning, I get given a plush by some builders and get invited to take on some obstacle courses. But for now, I follow our partner and ask my bunny to destroy some mega rocks and climb my way up for a view of the tower. Then head back down towards Wild Area 2. From there, Bodu was caught and Scatterbug evolves to Spuper. Magikarp pounces on the bridge, destined to be caught, and I get into a brawl with Binacle. Finally, I find a Pokemon I haven't caught since 15 years ago. Patrat. I'm honestly so happy he's back in the Pokemon wilds. And after a little bit of level grinding, Weedle evolves into Kakuna. Eventually, I catch up with Tawny at the food truck, a Fire Blast roast was ordered, and then all of a sudden, a strange man with shades appears. This here is Vinny from Quasartico Incorporated. Apologizes for the tower being closed due to renovations, and then wanders off. But I don't know, something seems off about that guy. Anyways, we go wandering ourselves when we see a huge crowd in the distance, just by the look of Bureau. We see Ivor from the Fist of Justice, protesting about the wild zones and wanting the Pokemon to run free. Now, there's a couple of reasons why I actually don't agree to this. One is indeed the dangerous thing of aggressive Pokemon, and second, I've already been pickpocketed once. I don't want to get pickpocketed again. Thank you very much. In short, I think they are maybe one of the evil teams in the city, and then I get called out for a battle. Of course it had to be me. Machop puts us in a bit of a pinch, however he does go down fairly straightforward. This leaves Meditite, and although we're too weak to even take a hit at him, our Croc pal retaliates and grabs us the win we deserve. So I go back to catching, and already I go down to a couple of Pikachu, though I do manage to grab one. And on top of that, 2 Esper were caught as well as a Litleo and a Skiddo, before catching back up and arriving at the Lucas Bureau. And now that I've been recruited as a detective, you know only one trainer can do so much. Thankfully, this is basically enabling all the side quests in the game. So I start off by the next wild zone where I help a little old lady who had lost her ring. So let's start with catching Ekans, Spinarak, Ghastly, and then Kakuna evolves to Beedrill before I eventually arrive at the spot to find the Sableye with the ring. Though I failed to catch it. It drops the ring I need to complete the quest. The next side quest is in the mall, and this requires a trade from Pikachu to Boys the Heracross. However, this is not goodbye because after shopping for some new wearables, and may I add this outfit costs 20,000 euros, I grab yet another mouse before evolving Spuper to Vivillon. There remain one more quest, an Alpha Bunnelby. My surprise is that Alpha Pokemon are back once more, and this time I was able to catch it. Just before I report back my progress, I went exploring around the cities, starting in Wild Zone 5 to catch Bellsprout, Venipede, and evolve Mareep to Fluffy before catching Trubbish by a couple of bins. Before taking on a Swirlix and catching it before I enter Wild Zone 6. Once I'm there, I'm able to catch Baneri, Houndour, and evolve Fletchling to Fletchinder, Meditite, and Swablu, and I finally evolved Totodile to Croconaw and Abra to Kadabra, bringing our total so far to 38 Pokemon. Along the way back, I managed to grab myself Spritzy before eventually returning to Emma. She gives us an insight of what Mega Evolution is, but before I go and battle her, I use up my EXP candies to evolve some more Pokemon, starting with the rather useless fish, evolving to the ultimate serpent, Gyarados. Our Alpha Bunnelby into Digzaby, which is a massive upgrade, and Pidgey to Pidgeotto. With all of the upgrades, now it's time to take on Emma. She starts with Mareep, so it gives me a moment to show off my alpha, and in a quick hit, the sheep is toast. Once I get shown just how strong Mega Ampharos can be, and I know that because I used one in X and Y, I get the invitational invite to take on Yvonne for the promotional match in the Battle Royale. But before I do that, I do have one Pokemon I want to catch. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Eevee. However, I have no time to train it as the sun is setting. However, during that time, I'm able to take on a worker for a side quest. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Oh, and I caught a monkey in a tree. My last request before sundown was to help this Fennekin who wasn't feeling so hot. So just before the stores close, I quickly rush over to the city, but it's too late. The battle zones activate. Thankfully, I'm away from the competitiveness, so I can speak to this old man who gives us a little hint on where I can find such a herb to help the fox. However, alpha Pokemon after alpha Pokemon, and yeah, it's tough. But I managed to take care of them and find the revitalizing twig. All that remains is to head back without any attention, which did not go in my favor when I bumped an Electrike, and yep, failed to catch them. Despite this, day breaks out, and we're safe to return with a twig to revive Fennekin, and as a thank you, she wants to join us, and evolves to Braixen. Next I take on Distan for yet another side quest, which was a fairly simple side quest. And then straight after, I can head over to the Stone Emporium to grab myself the Thunderstone, want to evolve Pikachu to Raichu, and to also get Eevee evolved to Jolteon. From there, I can show a girl my Ekans for the quest, so thank gosh I haven't evolved it yet. 2 more side quests remain for the time being, a Chespin having a standoff with a taxi driver, so I just watch in humour as it swears and curses at the car. It was a funny sight, and then I make it my business to take it out. Not once, not twice, but 3 times! All it wants to do is fight me when I tell it to fight with me. But I'm gonna be honest, I'd rather burn you with my witchy fox. Still, I let him evolve to the least popular Pokemon of all time. The last quest is quite a bit away from the town centre. However, once I get there, this challenge is an obstacle course, with the record holder being none other than the Wild Froakie. I have to race him and beat him within 30 seconds, which to me sounds literally impossible. Well then, that was easy. But apparently that was the easy one. This one is much tougher. Really? That was honestly easier than the first one. With that one done, there remains the toughest, challenging, and most ambitious course that a human has to... Oh, come on! To be honest with you, that quest might be challenging to rather young trainers. But with the third one out of the way, the third Kalos starter is now ours. He evolves to Frogadier and then gets shoved back into the box. By the time night falls once more, I can carry on in this ZA Battle League, taking on multiple trainers and getting enough points to go up against my challenger. This here is Yvonne, and I'm about to punt her to the moon. That's exactly what I did. Her Spritzy slashed. Her cotton candy dog eaten up. This left Vivillon, and despite it being fully evolved, it had no chance at surviving an Ice Fang. With that finishing blow, we got ourselves a new rank, and it's off to bed we go. The next day, as usual, our alarm is going off once more. I wander downstairs and find Naveen finally wanting to battle us, so I make the move. Spinarak is up first and he gets burnt, followed by Jolteon zapping his Sableye. So this left Scraggy, and a singular disarming voice was enough to get us through. They all leave to do their social things, whereas I get invited to take on our next opponent, this being Zavi. As soon as I prepare myself at the local Pokemon Center, I get ambushed for another side quest by Jarden and pay him 5,800 euros just to compete in the Budu show. What on earth is that? Absolutely unacceptable. Yes, I paid so much money just to look at some plants, but hey, at least I get a win, a lot more money, and a completed side quest. Night fell once again, and I'm ready to battle. The same plan is set, defeat as many trainers as possible, leaving the grade school at Zavi. Our phones collide, and the stage is set. Venipede is up first against Spinarak to slow it down with String Shot before letting our Fox deal in a major blow to it. Kadabra hits really hard, however, so I let our water starter come out, do decent enough damage, and just survive taking it out. Roselia couldn't survive 2 big hits, leaving Furthrow. Again, it hits hard and even takes a couple of my Pokemon out, but we're able to persevere and get a knockout. But we rank up to W. Oh dear, are we really back on the croissants, Corey? I wake up to meet up with Lida just before she goes rehearsing her new dance recital for TikTok, when Floette or AZ seems agitated. It comes to knowledge that she left without her gear, so I think it's time to do my local deeds for the day and take on a couple more side quests. First of all, I show Odette our Skiddo, to then she steals leaves to make her perfume business bloom. Absolutely punt a load of Kakoonas to the moon, as well as a Beedrill, then burn some twigs away for an artist to carry on with her sketch. And again. And again. Okay, I know the hedges outside my house grow quick, but if they grew that quick, I wouldn't be able to upload on YouTube anymore. However, the cause of the brambles, a wild Phantomp. Before another battle with a trainer with a sensitive Ordino, I defeat him with little trouble, and that allows our little spider to evolve to Ariados. This left a waiter with a dog that is refusing to, well, get some new treats in, so I take him out on a little walk and get him a bunch of his favorite treats at the next cafe, and by completing this side quest, this allows me to receive items to evolve my Swirlix of my own. I finally caught an Electrike a little later on, followed by Pancham straight after, which is enough for Patrat to evolve into Watchog. I managed to find Lida with her partner a couple of minutes later and then battle it out, because why not? Apparently. Though I need a Staryu of my own, so I hang out on the bench until night falls, and that's exactly what I do, before causing havoc at the next Battle Royale arena. Ultimately, this leads me taking on my next opponent, Rintaro. This guy has all the elemental monkeys, and yet Simitage was the one I was worried about. We swiftly take it out with Ariados, followed by switching to Croconaw on Simisear to cause huge damage. This leaves Simipour, which Jolteon was able to make clean work out of and defeat him, and another upgrade is mine. Nice. However, I'm not done for the night just yet, because as soon as I'm out of the restaurant, outside waiting for me is the big dog himself, Zygarde. I chase after him for Emma's sake. I do lose a bit of trail against him, but he seems interested in the roof of a building, and then dragged me on top of it. I was left with a mysterious dog, in fact 2. Then a third comes out of nowhere with a Mega Ring. With one dog Mega Evolving, I have to dodge and weave to get AZ's dog to Mega Evolve too, slowly withering it down. It's very similar to the bosses in Legends Arceus, and on top of saving it from its pain and suffering, the Absol entrusts us to be by our side. This is another Pokemon I was wanted to use for the main squad, but with the anomaly taken care of, I get myself some rest. I meet up with Tawny downstairs when she gets a call from Vinny asking us for us two to meet over the events late last night. And whilst we're on subject of last night, she wants to battle with Absol. Though I let my Crocodile and Fox take care of Pignite and Bayleaf, leaving her Manectric, who she Mega Evolves. So now it's my turn. I Mega Evolve my new dog and give her dog absolute hell, swiftly defeating it. She goes off so we can meet up with her later. For now, Mabel gives us a call to return to the research lab, though this time, I get gifted yet another starter Pokemon. Just like last time, either Bulbasaur, Charmander, or Squirtle, and I think Bulbasaur to finish the elemental trio, plus it's just great all around. I evolve him straight away to Ivysaur. My team are getting a little overpowered, and I don't want this to be a cakewalk, so whilst I train up Ivysaur, I allow myself to work on some more side quests with a new squad to level up with. The first being to investigate a pile of dirt for a potential nest. This Diggersby was a lot tougher just due to the squad, but that's okay, because next up, I'm able to grab another Pokemon to my roster. I climb up the rooftops, and there it was. Shiny Reverie! Oh yes! With him caught, next was helping another cafe grabbing the 3 elemental monkeys, and then I get ambushed by 2 ladies bickering on which typing is better for status conditions. A guy spamming berries as we battle, and then absolutely go havoc once more at the battle arena, gathering points for my next matchup. Then to start the next morning, I swapped over an Abra for a Riolu before heading over to my next side quest, to find 12 Spuper in the museum. Oh boy. However, it was actually quite nice seeing the ancients of Hisui, and to think this was my most amount of time played on a Pokemon game ever. It has a special soft spot to me, especially from the last video where I got all shiny Pokemon to 100% the game. And now I'm getting every single Spuper in this exhibition. It's rather ironic. Carrying on with the side quests, due to the level ups I don't have and the lack of firepower, I actually get my first loss. However, I quickly come back firing around for round 2 and only just scrape a victory. And this meant I can quickly head over to deal with some troublesome patrons, which was a nice simple take out the trash job. Okay, now time for the new encounters. We have a few new wild zones available to us. In Wild Zone 7, we got ourselves Manilite, Hippopotas, another Floette, and Roselia. Wild Zone 8 had Numel, Machop, Drillbur, Sandile, and then probably the hardest one of them all, Gibble. In Wild Zone 9, we had Sableye, eventually Mawile and Carbink, and finally on Zone 10, I got 2 Slowpoke and Carvanha. With all of that out the way, we head straight to the Dedenne guards and show them who is boss. Vinny appears, ready to talk some business about Quasartico Incorporated. He goes on to the dealings with the security of the city and all of the rogue mega Pokemon at Nightfall. And now he knows just about how good we are. Vinny is actually our next opponent, and well, as a result, actually clears us to not U tier, but to F tier. I don't know why or how, but I'm all good for it. So while she goes to claim more challenger points, I take him on basically straight away. He starts with Houndoom against Croconaw, and now I'm glad I didn't get over-level him because now it's a challenger matchup. The dog takes my Croc down, but Jolteon can swiftly retaliate, plus do huge damage to the Sharpedo. Again, we may fall, but Ivysaur finishes the job. A Baneri somehow makes his team, and I go for my usual toxic Giga Drain stall to take him down with plenty of health remaining. Drampa remains and Mega Evolves, managing to take out my little Pop, as well as my big Mega Evolved dog. However, once he runs out of time for his Mega Evolution, our Fox finishes it off with one final flame. And it's done. I don't know how, but somehow we managed to get the win, and a huge promotion in our rank is ours. To rank F. Sweet! We head inside the building to discuss the whole story and how AZ discovered Mega Evolved Rogue Pokemon occurring within Lumiose. The whole story and how the league was then created, to how the team was formed, and now we're on top of those very ranks. So now we know the score. He returns to his duties with the president of the company. And well, as we both went to grab some food, Naveen excuses himself and warns us not to deal with the streamer Canary. But I don't know. Something seems rather familiar about this one. Okay, strategy meeting back at the hotel. A new team flag, plus 3 new Mega Pokemon. Slowbro, Camerupt, and Victory Bell. And once the team split up, I get a little gift from AZ, the Feraligatr, for Croconaw further down the line. For now, however, I return to the research lab and meet a guy called Reg, a specialist in restoring Pokemon fossils from the Stone Emporium. He gives us the option to buy a fossil for him to restore, so I do the honorable thing and buy both for him. However, he can also restore the Amber, which I completely missed. So with that, I grab myself all the fossil Pokemon, restored and ready to go. Following that, this guy wants a battle with his team of normal types, which was simple enough, allowing us to instantly evolve our starter to Feraligatr, and then take on some battles in one of the restaurants. 3 courses of battling, and I did manage to get a glimpse of Mega Feraligatr. I mean, it's okay. Great powerhouse, but it's an okay design. And just to finish off the night, I managed to grab a couple of night encounters. Honedge and Shoppet, and when the sun comes up, I grab Audino and then Tynamo before heading out to my first Rogue Mega. However, the workers don't like that and want to show us wrong. I prove to them that's obviously not a good idea, and they go down fairly easily. With them out of the way, it allows me to climb up the scaffolding to reach our first of 3. This is Camerupt, and I actually thought the quad effective Aqua Jet would help me out, but wow. This fight was a lot tougher than Absol. I actually blacked out. Me. Not my Pokemon, me. But on the second go, I was a lot more patient, then striked when I could, allowing me to swiftly beat him with 0 casualties. So I waste 0 time and make haste to the next one, Slowbro in the Blue District. And this one was a lot slower, and also I felt this one was more difficult. Status conditions like paralysis do not work, which was what I was expecting, but hey, worth a try. So I wither it down with Absol, and thanks to Mega Evolution as well as Swords Dance, we can pack some serious firepower. Eventually the Salamander goes down, and I grab the Mega Stone from it. There just remains one more. Before I do that, however, I managed to grab the 2 remaining Elemental Monkeys, Pampor as well as Pansage, after resetting the day cycles a couple of times in order to finish Servando's side quests, before evolving them straight away and get them done and dusted. Because, boy oh boy, I hate these Elemental Monkeys. Apart from Pansage. He's okay. And whilst I'm evolving Pokemon, my second Eevee evolves to Leafeon, and Roselia evolves to Roserade, bringing our total to 90 caught Pokemon. So with Naveen waiting for us to tackle the Victory Bell, this one is annoying with the sludge it creates on the ground. However, this one was really simple, even with the type disadvantage. And with him calmed and the stone received, we have kept the city safe. So when we return to the hotel, I meet up with Zygarde, and it wants to battle me. Oh boy, I actually don't know its typing, but it was really straightforward. He even picks something up and gives me a pebble, before someone called L comes over to state I'm the chosen one. The prophecy. The one who will bring balance to the, Mega Aura thingy. It sounded a lot crueler in my head than it actually was. Anywho, once I meet up with the squad, I get a promotional message for the next rank in the ZA Royale, against Canary. Naveen doesn't like this one bit, and to help with intel, I have to beat him. If I lose, he doesn't have to say a word and can be all Loverboy to his biggest hero. It's Ariados against our Croc, and if I'm honest, it was as easy as 1, 2, and well, 3. They all fell, and well, it's time to wait until night for a challenger's ticket. So whilst I wait and try to attempt a side quest to catch an Alpha Magikarp, I kept dying against the useless fish. Safe to say, I'm a side excuse for a gamer. However, once he's caught and I evolve my frog to Venusaur and show off my Alpha to him, then battle against Muro and send his barrier team to the Shadow Realm. Just before sundown, I managed to grab one more Eevee and evolve it to Flareon before I wait for the night. The battle zone activates. I swiftly grab the points I need to be able to grab our ticket. During that time, our Fox evolves to, well, Delphox. I cannot wait to use the new Mega for this one. By the time I get the ticket, I return to Naveen, who helps us not only get in, but helps us secure the victory on the Quiz Whiz content. The first round being a simple true or false statement. However, I have no idea on who this streamer is, other than the fact she's got more subscribers on me. So the first one's saying she's good at block falling games. Having said that, it's just not my forte. I follow the main crowd really, and somehow it worked in my favor. Someone in the crowd is getting a bit rowdy and show-offy. Round 2 is a scavenger hunt. We have to find the Electros' favorite sweet. So I head over to the cafe and... oh, it's this punk again. He may have what he needs. However, the key is how well done it is. According to Naveen, it has to be well done. The crunchy texture is what it's happy with. The final round is against the Superfan alone. A simple 1-on-1. 3 electric types, and all of them fell. There remained one final question, and without Naveen, I would have never gotten it right. She gladly accepts our challenge. Once I arrive at the Racine construction building, the worker wants to battle me before the streamer herself. The first bit of the fight was pretty scrappy, but once I Mega Evolve, that starts to speed the fight up, until his Excadrill Mega Evolves also. With Break and Swipe, it negates his attack being buffed, allowing me to have a chance at taking him out and claiming the win. This just left Canary to battle. I let Venusaur do the major sweeping and toxic stalling / recovery. Once Helioisk, Ampharos, and Stomfisk were dealt with, it's just her ace. We are quite low, however. It's bought us plenty of time to Mega Evolve Absol, and got absolutely swept. So I do what I do best. Panic. This was an incredibly strong Mega to deal with, but I play a huge risk once she devolves and Mega Evolve our Crocodile. Thanks to that, we were able to take it down and only just give us the win. These battles are starting to get tough. Later that evening, it's back to the Croissant Curry, and I hand over the autograph plush to Naveen as a thank you for the trouble. Still, he won't have the curry. Quite understandable. Well, Lida wants a nice easy morning. However, Vinny over on the phone to Tawny says otherwise. Strategy meeting time. And 3 more Mega Evolved Rogue Pokemon had appeared. Beedrill, Hawlucha, and Bayonet. However, before we advance further, Tawny teaches us how to glide with Rotom, allowing us to get to Beedrill. This is a tough battle, but with patience, I'm able to break through and get a big hit out of it. From there, I cause havoc with Phase Team of Fairies with only Venusaur, which was simple enough, and then assist Pakes with her Meditite. I need to hunt for the Yoga Master, and yes, the information I provided wasn't very helpful at all, actually. However, through friendship training in the wild areas, I actually managed to find her, and then I went on a cafe golf run, trying to evolve our final squad member through friendship, though that never happened. So instead, I get in trouble with the police and take out someone with a trap team, followed by taking on a couple who specialize in status moves before helping a sailor out with a Binacle raid. Honestly, with a single Eraser Leaf, which at long last was enough to evolve Riolui to Lucario. So now I can finally crack on with all of the side quests, involving catching an Alpha Weedle, and then following up with a battle with a lady with friendship Pokemon. I get given the Sooth Bell afterwards, which is infuriating considering how much time I spent with friendship quests. And then, last but not least, it's trading away Slowpoke, well, for Slowpoke, with a bit of sun cream on its head. So with all of the side quests complete for now, let's focus on catching some more Pokemon. In the new Wild Zone 11, I got Clauncher, Furfrou, Stonfisk, Inkay, and the Alpha Clawitzer, before heading to Wild Zone 12. Here I managed to catch 2 Snorunt, as well as Snover, Bergmite, and Delibird. Eventually. I'm not gonna lie, this one took a while. Last but not least, Wild Zone 13 is home to tough bogs, and so whilst the Phantom was also caught, a Pinsir and 2 Cyphers were added to the roster. Along the way to the Bayonet Rogue Mega, I managed to catch Cleffa, as well as Dedenne, before meeting up with Naveen. With Bayonet nowhere to be seen, it was only a matter of time before the ghost jump scared us and challenged us to the duel. The illusions were extremely challenging to deal with, but Absol was able to single-handedly take them out as well as the real one of his own. And thus, the Bayonet Mega Ring is mine. L as well as the Zygarde show their presence once more, insisting us to keep going. All that remains is the Hawlucha, and it's not just us that is worried about the parrot. Some of the local folk I feed it are as well, but thanks to an updated location, we're able to trace it down and take it on. This battle was much easier. I started with Delphox to build up my Mega Aura, ready for Lucario to take it head on. Basically, if I don't stop attacking, it would have taken advantage, but because we kept stopping it from doing so, this fight honestly was a breeze. With the Rogue Megas dealt with, I returned to the team for a debrief at the hotel. Though with no info left at hand, I'm pretty sure Vinny is working towards it. All of a sudden, my phone beeps, and I get an invite at the Battle Royale for the D rank. This time, it's against Ivor, the Dojo Master. However, first I unlock some more side quests, so I take a few whilst the sun is still up. The Perfume Lady is back and wants to take credit for my Pokemon, and her perfume, so surely I must receive some sort of commission? Obviously not. I give someone a lemonade, slash a substitute for a Cypher, and then battle against a courier boy who loves his Pidgey team. It took a while, but we did manage to grab ourselves the challenger's ticket, and swiftly arrive at the arena. But before I do take on Sensei for the Fist of Justice, I'm encountered by Jose once more. This time her team have evolved, but still, she was very little trouble. However, I'm still not able to battle him, because once he returns, his sister has actually gone missing. Which, you know what? Fair play. I think it's time I help him. After all, as soon as I arrive at the bureau, Emma is with Ivor already, and with a report filled out, we work together and await till daytime to gather clues on Gwen's whereabouts. A few leads lead us to Nouvelle Cafe, to where there's intel on her and her previous opponent, the Twitch streamer. Which, by the way, you should definitely not support her and support the likes of me. Thank you very much. Arriving at the scene of construction, and there is blood to be spilled. They don't like each other one wee bit, and also doesn't like the fact she lost to me and wants to battle once more. So, I have to defend my title, and this time it was a lot easier. With the final pieces of the investigation, we await at the Cloytsa fountain, and when heads mashed together, and almost nearly public property damage occurred, I let my crocodile freeze the fountain, letting the water drain through, allowing us to access the sewers. There are wild Pokemon here, so I managed to catch Noibat, Scraggy, and when we get to the locked door to proceed any further, I catch the Klefki roaming around, which not only adds it to the dex, but we are able to push further forward. But there's one slight problem. It doesn't have the key. So Ivor gets impatient and punches straight through. I mean, it allows us to pass, I guess. Oh well, at least we're able to find ourselves a Litwick before catching up to a wild Chandelure. It vanishes to a dead end, so when we fall short of evidence, Ivor goes ahead to punch a wall. That's fake. His fist straight through. We walk straight through, feeling the presence of the ghost types surrounding us. Then when we finally see her within the deepest parts of the sewers, instructing to defeat her. And, well, we do just that. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So by the time she comes clean and hides from the complaints about her brother, she at least brings him peace and shows we're his next opponent. Okay, with all of that story done, I think it's time we finally take him on. Heracross is up against Delphox, and despite it hitting hard against me, we hit just as hard back. Despite us falling on the back foot, Feraligatr can quickly retaliate and do decent damage to the rest of the team. Machamp is holding on by a thread as we fall, so when Lucario comes out to swiftly do the same, Felix Mega Evolves as well as my dog. Again, hard exchanges, but due to no retreat, we do fall. Jolteon is quick enough to get it down, and that, ladies and gentlemen, defeats Ivor and gives us the rank of D. My routine is getting very similar. I yawn, walk downstairs, see Naveen and Leader stressing about Tornay, and the fact we've got a bounty because of her. I knew she was cheating behind my back. Hello, this is Rypereon, right? The kid who lives and helps out at Hotel Z. Don't do it. Please don't do it. Nope, that is definitely not me. Let's not play dumb. Damn it. If there's one thing about crime syndicates, you borrow a lot of money, then you're forced to work with them because you can't afford their dirty money. Robbing and dirty but swiftly moving on, I have to head over with Lida, but before doing that, I managed to find some new wild zones, managing to catch Aron, Lairon, Emolga, Excadrill, and eventually Onyx before blacking out myself. On Zone 15, we only really needed Pumpkaboo, so I catch him before making my way up to the Ross Syndicate hideout. This grunt really isn't smart because all he does is, well, blow up. However, his boss Felipe doesn't like that one bit. Nor Oz, so he's next to deal with. Steelix is up first, so I let Lucario Mega Evolve. This wasn't going to be easy. Once the Steelix is out, Scizor is up next, and I switch swiftly to Delphox, who could take it fairly well. His Steely's burn, leaving his Ace Skarmory. And this guy, when Mega Evolved, is scary. In fact, it wipes out the majority of my team, though we are able to get it through his defenses and just about win. By the time we head in, the building is very cold and tense. Tawny has certainly been dealing with the wrong people. We meet their boss, Mr. Corbo, and we get down to business. 100,000 euros was the loan, but now with interest soaring at 1 million euros, we are screwed. I tell you what, I knew the people of Kalos were greedy. But this is disgusting. We're forced to having to work with them, and after testing their patience, we get kicked out with no sign or known whereabouts of Tawny. We need another meeting to find out what on earth is going on, until she shows her face, and we all give her a kick up the backside, finding out just how on earth are we going to juggle with a crime boss and rogue Pokemon Mega Evolve him. So let's start with Barbaracle, and these are getting really tough. And despite Lida saying how unfair it actually was, we were able to take him down without really much trouble. But with Elle infiltrating our operation with more intel about what Quasartico Inc. are up to, and yet they might be the ones inflicting us, it's definitely something to consider. Next up was to take care of the Mega Mawile, just casually looking down from the rooftop. I do have the advantage with Delphox, but I was quickly taken out just by how quick it can be. However, once I learnt the attack pattern, I was quick to take it swiftly out, though by the time I'm done, she opened up, apologized, then ran off to help some more folk. So all that's left is the final rogue bomb of the night. The Holobator is broken though, and somehow it all seems to go back down to Gwen. She stops me in our tracks, and revenge is apparently hers to take. And that is not what happened, because her team got swept away like garbage on the floor. As promised, she helps sort our little problem out, scares the ghost away, allowing us to continue up to face Ampharos. Here we go. I don't really have anything to deal with it in its base form. However, because it has the extra dragon typing in its new form, I'm able to do a little more work. I start with Jolteon for a couple of disarming voices whilst building up my Mega Ring, allowing for Alligator to come out and Mega Evolve. From there, we honestly don't do that much, and put a huge dent into his wall, giving us the final stone for the night. But we're not done just yet. After I arrive back, the Rust Syndicate's big boss calls us for a job and says we are to sort it out as payment. Otherwise, we're saying goodbye to Hotel Z. And so I head over to the area specified and enter into the old building to help a guy full of troublemaking ghosts. And I did manage to get a Gengar, so that's one less ghost trade I have to do. But Corbo shows up to check I've actually done the job and then called it sloppy work from me. The cheek of him. Then he says I'm needing to help this boy out and then leaves without saying another word. Once I arrive, I follow the grunt in the sewers and simply need to destroy the Mega Crystals within. And not only she says I can keep the Mega Shards, but I also catch myself a Skrelp. As soon as I finish up, Corbo catches up once more and interrogates me on just who L is. I don't know other than his name, but he has come out and he said he's Lysandre. Wait, hold up, L? Lysandre? As in, the Lysandre that nearly destroyed the entire region with the ultimate weapon AZ had. Well, what happened 5 years ago happened to then, but we're needed at the Central Plaza, like, now. And I wouldn't say it's a huge issue to the clan, but kids were getting spoken to like dirt by 2 fully grown adults. So, I'm about to destroy the SBC. Gabite is up first, and once I switch, I Ice Fang it away, leaving his other dragon, Sliggoo, who also receives the same treatment. Once he was done with, the woman couldn't stand her own ground with the 2 fairies, but a load of commotion in the background was heard, and all I got was a "you're coming with me," which was rude. Regardless, I head over to find the CEO of Quasartico and Tawny getting ganged up by a mob, so I make them disperse because at the end of the day, the redevelopment plans are to coexist with Pokemon. She gets back safe with Tawny, and with us retreating for the day, we head back to the hotel to then get called out once again. This time at the headquarters. I return to the boss. Thankfully, he's cleared us off. Seeing as he learns we're dealing with the rogue megas and helping everyone out in the city enough as it is, but that's not all, because he is my next opponent in the Battle Royale. But I still need a ticket. So whilst I wait for Nightfall, I have a load of side quests to be getting on with. And yes, this also includes getting encountered by the Rust Syndicate grunts, which was relatively straightforward, but also helping the local police force. Okay, maybe just a little more than that. But also assisting the general public with their requests. I did manage to get a couple of evolutions in at the same time. Kavana to Sharpedo, Slowbro, Gibble to Gabite, one of the Snowrunts to Frostlass, Ghastly to Haunter to complete Gengar's line, Numel to Camerupt, which will also be important for another quest, Machop to Machoke, and Staryu to Starmie, bringing our total to 128 Pokemon. I managed to get last minute side quests in as the sun was going down, meaning you know what time it is, it's time I grab my ticket, which I quickly do so. And just before I do get to fight the boss of the Syndicate organization, Litwick evolves to Lampent, who then evolves to Chandelure straight after. With that done and dusted, we just have to battle Corbo, and I can't wait to get rid of that smug look. He starts with Arbok, which is good for Delphox to hit a hard sidekick move before switching out to Gyarados to Jolteon. Thus, a quad T-Bolt takes it out. Roserade comes out next, so I time it perfect for Delphox to just finish it off before Poison takes over. This leaves Scolipede, who Mega Evolves, so I let Jolteon T-Wave it, though he protects, and takes us out. So I let my big dog Mega Evolve and hit hard aura moves to take it out. That was honestly quite an easy fight. However, apparently me beating him and taking rank C isn't enough, and he wants to see me at the hotel. When he does show up to, shock horror, become a guest to the hotel, he states he's going to retire. With all of us being confused, we let him rest. And with that, we should too. The next morning, the debt got cleared and we're safe to carry on with our duties. AZ also manages to source out Mega Rings for the whole squad, and a showdown at the Battle Court was organized. But I don't think what happened next was what I was expecting. Wait! Shiny Beeldrick! No, it's Alpha! There's no way! My first shiny is an Alpha! Yes, it was. Ironically, my last shiny in Legends Arceus was Hippowdon. And that was my first Alpha then. And now look, my first shiny in Legends ZA, an Alpha. What are the odds? Anyways, I have a lot of candy to spare, so I evolved all of my boxes. Snorunt into Glalie, Honedge to Doublade, to Aegislash straight after, Pidgeot, Manectric, and the 2 Espers to Meowstic. Bayonet, Medicham, Barbaracle, Houndoom, and both my Lions evolved to Pyroar. Bellsprout to Weeping Bell, and straight to Victory Bell. Whirlipede and then Scolipede, Gogoat, Garbodor, Arbok, and Pangoro. Fletchinder to Talonflame, and from there I got Altaria, Avalog, Hippowdon, Clefairy to Clefairy, and a Moonstone later evolves it to Clefable, and Dynamo evolves to Electric, and with the help of a Thunderstone... Okay, I need to go and get another one. Nearly there now. We grab Greninja, as well as Chestnut, Shiny Ampharos, Drafty, Abomasnow, and Jagolgi. Finally, we get Garchomp, Noivern. Vanillite evolves to Vanillish. And then because I'm stupid, I evolve Clauncher because I binned an Alpha Clawatzer, bringing our total to 165 Pokemon. With that big grind out of the way, I meet up with the team to take on Lyda and Estayu with Jolteon. I get her whole team zapped. However, let's ignore the fact I'm 10 levels above and she's not really got a fully evolved team. And straight after, Naveen wants a piece. I can't really say this one was much more different. However, he does at least Mega Evolve. However, we get the freeze, meaning we were able to take it out without Mega Evolving ourselves. We head over to the cafe to eat, to discuss our performances on Mega Evolution, and then suddenly a lady walks over to us and asks if we're the team she's looking for. She is Labani, part of the Battle Connoisseurs. And from here, I get to say the best pickup line going.
Hello there.
General Kenobi.
We're invited to the next society meeting at a fancy hotel name I cannot pronounce, but I do have to get into something just a little more fancy. So while she goes and takes care of shopping, I take care of some extra side quests. The majority of this was simply battling out, and thanks to this guy losing, I get given a Thunderstone to get Electros, but I also form out a Numel, help Santa Bird against Garbodor, before going on a catching hunt for another Mawile, because someone can't throw Pokeballs very well. Surprisingly, I got it in the first ball, so it was nice to embarrass him. I then help out the lady who looks over the Harlucha I defeated from going rogue before, and it wants to battle with me yet again. Once more, the parrot goes down in one quick zap. Bye bye birdie! I battle again at the local restaurant against multiple trainers over a whopping 5-course meal, followed by another trainer who loves focus energy, before taking on this trainer, Volley. He uses nothing but flying type Pokemon, and I got my backside cooked on this one. However, by adding my Alpha Gyarados on the squad, despite us being very low leveled, we cooked by outspeeding. Basically, having a huge serpent solves all of your problems. I continue to help out or battle against the city folk, or get someone out of a sticky situation. I won't go into much detail, but it's basically what you've seen for the most part. I've spent a long time trying to find this guy with the camera up and tells me to follow him inside the sewers. Bit sketchy, but okay. And whilst I was down there, I failed a Gumi. Again. However, I was right and I knew it all along, because he wants to fight me, which is just typical. But once I'm out of there, I showcase Mega Camera up to an artist at long last, then she wants to see Mega Sableye to a Medicham afterwards. That's all helping the decks, I guess. At long last, I catch up with the rest of the team. I meet up with a fashion designer, Asami, who will give us the outfits we need in exchange for a battle. Yeah, I get this is Pokemon, but honestly, these side quests are getting a bit stale. But I honestly thought she was rocking the shiny Florges, and it turns out I was once again completely wrong. But we take her out, and first I grab the KOTOR clothing I need for the gathering. This will do to get me in. Once I arrive at the city's fanciest hotel, I get greeted and escorted to the ballroom, though she seems down and fed up. We casually hang fire for the lady until we have to leave for more rogue mega work. They obviously don't like that one bit, and another strategy meeting was held. This time, Frostlass, Altaria, and Venusaur. Something, however, seems off about this meeting though. Lady Justine actually joined us for the meeting and urges us to rejoin the tournament. However, that wasn't necessary to us because we're Team MZ and we've got to save the city. I wanted to take on Venusaur first for the sole reason the Mega Evolve in my very own frog. Again, I won't go into full minority of details because you all know how this works by now. Other than the fact, Justine will not leave us be. So much for peace. I suppose I'll best keep up my progress to defeat Altaria as well as Frostlass so I can restore peace once more to the region as well as to keep peace with the crazy woman. But there's even more to deal with. The team are starting to feel slightly overwhelmed. By the time we leave, we're caught in the battle zone of our very own, although slightly different, because this time being part of the SBCs, we're forced to battle. Mawile is up and Absol is a bad match, so I switched to Delphox to burn the competition. The gent couldn't stand a chance with his dragons, leaving Labani, and boy, she's aggressive. Honestly, I didn't think I was able to hit hard, but thanks to a freeze on her Mega Dragalge, we were able to come out unscathed. Now that she is marked as my next opponent, I'm ready to take her on. I quickly grab my challenger's ticket and head back to the hotel. This challenge is based on a tournament of her very own. Yes, I have to compete against people I've taken on before. This means Kanari got beaten up on her stream once again for the third time now, and I got to use Mega Venusaur for a tad bit too. Ivor was next, and my Fox was able to single-handedly take care of his squad, so that was a cakewalk, and then Corbo was right after. Once everyone was defeated, it was only myself and Justine for the B rank. Before Zygarde comes running across alongside Lanzandre, but it seems like I'm battling Zygarde once more. This time, everyone notices the amount of cells crawl over to the dog, making him evolve to his 50% form. I let my Croc take care of business before he retreats. I also don't know what happened in the last 5 years for Lysandre to forget everything, but alas, we move. It's finally time to tackle the lady of the hotel herself. Here we go. She starts with Carbink against Venusaur. I manage to stall out before going for the recovery takedown. Mawile comes out, so I switch out to Delphox to make quick work, followed by switching to my Croc to... oh dear. With that, I let Lucario take the big hit, leaving my Mega in a Mega Clefable. All this thing does is protect and stall out though, because it gets me off guard. It knocked out my Fairy type coverage. So I let Jolteon paralyze and stall out the fight, giving me the opening to take it down. My victory was finally confirmed, and I'm one rank away from becoming the best of the best. So whilst we're celebrating, we see AZ on his own, sad and worrisome of what is to come with only a singular name, Ange. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it. And even the next morning, he's still unsettled. Prism Tower is in ruin with Mega Energy. All that can be done is to get to the A rank to take on Floette in its Mega form to protect the city. But I can't really see anything bar from Rogue Megas. For now, Tawny gets a call from Vinny and we're to report at the Quasartico building. Maybe he'll know more. For now, I get as many as the side quests done once more, and despite defeating Andy, who nearly stole my bag at the very start of the game, the rest is the same. Once they were done, I decided to grab some more Pokemon, so starting with Zone 16 and get absolutely slaughtered. However, we managed to catch Felix, followed by Skarmory in Route 17. Of course, I didn't get it. In Zone 18, I got Bagon, and in Zone 19, I got Kangaskhan and another Eevee to evolve, before trying Skarmory again at night, then finally Helioptile. With every single Pokemon caught, I catch up to Tawny and meet Vinny, who takes us to Jet, the CEO of Quasartico. We learn the true reasoning as to why the development plan went underway and that Prison Tower was emitting a peculiar energy. That's why the Rogue Mega phenomenon continued to occur. Jet also asks about Tawny's jacket, and as she vaguely recognizes it. Wait, could she? Nope, none of my business. What is my business is getting involved in a strategy meeting. Dragonite, Tyranitar, and Starmie. Yes, we're getting into the big rogue Pokemon now, as well as a Starfish. So let's start with Dragonite. This one is one of the newly discovered Mega Evolutions, and you know where people say don't judge a book by its cover? Yeah, this is a perfect example, because it's a huge powerhouse and such an aggressive weather user. Although with patience and planning, we take it down. Tyranitar is next on my list, being just as challenging and dangerous. Its attack pattern I found a little confusing at first, but once I got the gist of it, it wasn't too much hassle. So that leaves the rather easier one until last. However, the Ross Syndicate got involved, and now Felipe thinks I stand no chance against one little star. If you vaguely remember, I was starting to struggle with a team like Steely's. However, this time, it was actually quite straightforward. Because of the victory, as well as keeping quiet of him opening up, he gives Lyda the Water Stone for her star, so it's Star against Patrick Star, who's gotten some very sexy legs. It keeps dancing around like on a Friday night, throwing up water everywhere, and causing absolute chaos until we were able to stop it and calm its frenzy. Once we returned for a debrief, including AZ and Floette, she let everyone cast their votes to who is going to be the one she relies on in the squad. Until I get a notification for my next promotional rank, to become one of the very best. The opponent, however, completely dark. No picture, probably a fake name. So how do we find him? Well, we get our friend Cop involved. Apparently we're in for it, should we find out, but as we are to protect the city, that's what I must get into. Not before having to battle her first. Well, it wouldn't be Pokemon fashion if we didn't battle at possibly the end of the world scenarios. Ampharos is up first, and I let my tanky frog do most of the work, until swapping to Delphox closer to the end of the battle. Her ace Malamar eventually shows and Mega Evolves. It's also very quick, but as soon as my Dark Doggy Mega Evolves, plus a Sword Stance, I could cause absolute carnage, slicing the octopus's tentacles to give us the easy win. I get the info I need. It's an old member from Lysandre's Team Flare, and even though it's a start, Mabel back at the research lab also has info I'd like her to spill. That rat! The vile little man! Well, to my knowledge, Mabel used to be part of Team Flare. And well, come to think of it, wasn't she one of the admins? Grissom used to go under as Gris, and that this Gris is someone by the food truck at the Central Plaza. It just so happens that the guy who actually makes the coffee is none other than our next opponent, and he is the current boss of Team Flare, Nuvo. Grizel, his second in command, urges to take us down, but seeing as the police are about, she sent us a location to find out the truth. Eventually, I arrive at the cafe they used as their base 5 years ago, the base they still use now. Without the hospitality, of course. Her team is very Team Flare inspired, though her Pyro Mega Evolves, and I think it's cool. But it's very aggressive, and she really starts to pin me up to a corner. However, when I panic and send out our Grass Frog, I get the light screen up, and manage to survive long enough to take it down. Once we're recovered, we enter inside, and he teaches us the history, and takes us through to the old labs. Once again, just like X and Y, we need to find the old elevator key to get us fully down to the weapon. The layout is exactly the same as it was in the 3DS era. Okay, you're paralyzed on 1 HP. How many balls do you need? It's safe to say I gave up until I get better Pokeballs, so I continue to turn the power on and make my way further and further into the labs. I do have to fight a couple of swords to get to the deepest parts of the ruins and find the key. And when I do go down, I find AZ's old cell, followed by some machinery powering back on when I enter the main room, showcasing the ultimate weapon. I get to hear all the playback files, including the legends Xerneas and Yveltal. before all of a sudden, the third legendary Zygarde runs back over, and Lysandre returns once more. He tells the story of what he remembers. Though with severe brain damage, Zygarde saved him from the destruction of the weapon, the key to solve the issue with Prism Tower and the energy it holds, AZ and his Floette. I've learnt enough. I know what must be done. I return to the hotel and speak to AZ as well as the team. He goes on about the Great Pokemon War. If you've seen the X and Y video, you'll know exactly what this is about, but just to recap, Floette lost her life during that war, and he brought her back with Kalos's ultimate weapon. However, he couldn't calm, and nearly caused destruction across the region itself. However, up until recently, he built Ange deep in the tower to reunite with the flower, and now we must destroy it. Naveen doesn't like this, but now is not the time for conflict. I shall do it. I quickly grabbed the challenger's ticket in the battle zones, and this time they are starting to Mega Evolve their Pokemon. Otherwise, it was quick and simple. This left Grissom to deal with, and already the fact that the Charizard hanging out is his. It is not calming my nerves. He also has a full team of 6 Pokemon too, and honestly, it was big hit after big hit after big hit. Eventually, Mega Charizard X sweeps through the field, but by the time he runs out of Mega Energy, Absol Mega Evolves and gives us a clutch of a win. Any longer and we would have lost that one. With that, we are now Luminose's strongest Mega Evolution trainer. We had done it. As soon as we part ways, Zygarde leaps in as well as Lysandre. We're running out of time. Whilst we wait for a choosing over more Korean croissants, Floette's in pain, and she's running out of time. Wait, could she go rogue? AZ tells us to rest easy for the night, and I think I have to agree. But later on, there was a huge explosion. It woke us all up. We head up to the roof to find that Prism Tower is glowing. The construction walls destroyed. Us, as well as Floette, are tasked to head over there, and with Quasartico already in position, there's little delay. And even the Zygarde cells join us. We quickly rush over to Centrico Plaza, and to decide on who is to go in the Prism Tower, Tawny and I battle it out. This is it, the final battle of the league. It's Meowstic against Feraligatr. The light screen may be set, but we're able to get out the cat. Up next was her ace, Ember, who bulks up, and is tanky already, though he too gets the same fate. Manectric is next, and we switch it to Venusaur, setting up our own light screen and taking hits like no tomorrow. He too goes down. Despite the toxic from Goodra, Outrage secures the knockout. However, we do eventually fall to poison damage. Lucario comes out to Flash Cannon the big iceberg away, leaving Meganium. Flash Cannon hurts, but so does Earth Power, and takes us to the Shadow Realm. However, our Poisonous Frog comes back out to Mega Evolve and hit a quad effective Sludge Wave to secure us the win. With that, we have become Luminose's greatest trainer. She accepts her love for me. Before we prepare ourselves to head into the tower's control center, despite this, she still wants to go in, as we can still protect the city with Zygarde should things go south. We get our briefing from AZ, who sends us best wishes as we calm the calamity. Tawny Mega Evolves the Eternal Floette and glides up to the tower. Once they get there, she gathers all of the energy and then proceeds to attack. I don't think the little one could handle it. It converts to the second ultimate weapon. We rush down and hear back from the squad leader. She apparently is having the time of her life, but the Mega Floette says otherwise. Despite this, we have a plan, but not without company. Mega Gengar as well as Mega Heracross. I have to say, this fight was awesome to experience. We managed to have a quick meeting, and despite being alone, everyone is here for backup and also crashing the meeting. Everyone from the Battle Royale supporting us all the way. This mess is, well, messy. But with everyone set in stone for certain areas, a route is planned for us to get to Zygarde. So first let's join in with Ivor and Gwen to deal with Pidgeot, Kangaskhan, as well as Mega Garchomp. But even with us just barely getting through, we're not getting a break with more Megas behind. Gwen gives myself and Ivor the time to keep moving. With the help of our teams, we get away across the canals, get help from Canary and her dad's construction company against Blastoise and Steelix, Once they are out the question, they just finish building some scaffolding to the next area, and it's honestly scary just looking at it. I continue onwards to get to Laban and Jacine. As usual, she's not to be seen, so it's an even 2v2. I didn't even have enough Mega Charge, so couldn't Mega Evolve, though I handled it just fine, allowing me to catch up to Corbo. The Gardevoir and Gallade honestly couldn't stand a chance against 2 poison types. A ladder by the Syndicate was formed, and I get up to the rooftop to meet Zygarde. I do get greeted by even more Megas, but with the remaining of Team Flare to help me out, they go down, meaning it's all up to me. They scatter with more Mega Pinsir, leaving me to follow Zygarde to the top. He definitely is a good boy. Lysandre has all the cells bar from one. The very one I have. He upgraded to his 100% form. As he continues on, I take the fight on foot with my team. It's very strange fighting non-Pokemon, but once I wither the flowers down, it gives Zygarde the opportunity to hit hard moves. Even though this creates an opportunity for Light of Ruin to nearly kill us, Zygarde protects us and allows us to press further onward. It was a long fight. In fact, this took a whopping 30 minutes. But this fight on its own was just pure cinematography. Zygarde eventually hits its final core enforcer move, bringing the device to an end. Or has it? Floette attempts to take control, but Ange opened up once again, very similar to the ultimate weapon. Everything seems in turmoil. Until the pebble that Zygarde gave us much earlier on turned into the Mega Stone for Zygarde himself. He undergoes his origin form, and the Light of Ruin is hit. I let Zygarde do its thing with its ultimate move, Nihil Light, and using the Mega Energy, it utterly destroys the beam, allowing Tawny to escape with Floette safe and sound. With that, ladies and gentlemen, the credits officially roll, and we became the strongest trainer in the capital city, but at a cost. After the credits, the hotel was silent, and in the next cutscene, we see the team at a grave. AZ had passed away. He bid farewell to everyone 3,000 years ago, and now we bid farewell to him. With his sins finally atoned for, thank you for everything, AZ. May you finally rest at peace. But do you think I'm ending my adventure here? No, we're 100% in the game, man. So, let's go catch some more Pokemon. First, I catch up with the squad, and as per reaching A ranks, Tawny and I get to go and meet Vinny for our wish. Although by the time we do, it kind of goes full circle. We all get what we want at the end, to compete in the Infinite ZA Royale. But for now, the last Wild Zone unlocked. Here we can get the most rare Pokemon, starting with Gardevoir, Malamar, Squirtle, who evolves to Wartortle, and then Blastoise. Use a Sunstone on Helioptile to get Heliolisk, Vaporeon, Bagon evolves to Shelgon, who then evolves to Salamence, Tepig, who then evolves to Pignite, then Emboar, Aggron, Charmander, who evolves to Charmeleon, and then to Charizard straight afterwards. Last but not least, Chikorita, who evolves to Bayleaf, and then to Meganium. I then head back to Lysandre Cafe to grab a Bellum at long last. He then evolves to Metang, who then evolves to Metagross. I found a Ralts to evolve to Kirlia, then use a Dawnstone to get Gallade. Then I went on a hunt for Dratini, to then evolve into Dragonair, then caught Larvitar, and finally Goomy before nightfall. From there I worked to get my Challenger's ticket, before returning to Quasartico Inc. Our first Infinite match is against Zach, and this time, he still has a shockingly weak team. Once I gather my prizes, Lyda gives me a call telling me to head back to the hotel. It's urgent. Lysandre awaits and tells us to find the one who gives and the one who takes. In this case, Xerneas and Yveltal. I start my search in the research labs to speak to Mabel, who gives us a little bit of intel on at least one of them, with alphas in a couple of zones 3, 5, and 9 respectfully, and once they were defeated, I return, with us tracking it down at Wild Zone 11. I hang fire by the lake until I hear a cry and a deer wandering over to me. This is Xerneas. I have to catch it. It honestly takes me a good few tries to actually be successful at it. I then arrive at Quasartico Inc., along with the remaining Team Flare grunts, inquiring about the one who takes Yveltal. I'm required to prepare myself using the simulators. These are rogue Mega Evolution battles again against previous foes, but this time, I'm on my own. However, I found these to be much easier than the first time around. Once they were defeated, I'm trained up ready for Yveltal. I hear this cry, and he flies to the local mall. I approach as we exchange glares before we go against one another. It takes quite a load of balls, but I keep dodging its attacks, able to finally get him instant ball. Nice. So with the legendaries caught, I was about to call it a day when Lysandre comes behind me and asking for a battle. This is the last main battle in the game, so last guess is if you believe we can finish this off. It's Pyro against Feraligatr, and we both exchange hard hits, though we pretty much get it out first before Florges retaliates. I'll be honest, from there and him revealing Noivern, I get absolutely slaughtered. Only just managing to take it down with my very last Pokemon. Absolutely sweep Garbodor to the dumpsters, leaving Gyarados. But at this point, I am way too weak to take him on. He Mega Evolves and a simple Earthquake takes me out. We had lost. Until we had lost again and again, and I thought all hope was lost. This is when I ditched Jolteon for Xerneas, and I Mega Evolve on turn 1. And actually, that was the right move, because Pyro was out in a flash, and with correct timing, I can get Venusaur out without getting hurt, plus do major damage. We may fall, but Lingering Poison takes the Bouquet out too. From there, I let Absol stall out Sableye and do a bit on Noivern. So when Feraligatr comes back out, Quad Ice Fang wipes out the dragon, as well as destroy the Garbodor. Gyarados remains and Mega Evolves. It may take us out, however I can send out Xerneas, protect on Earthquake, and then follow up with a Playrough and Mega Horn, taking out the Serpent and finally giving us the win. Zygarde appears and encourages us to battle underneath Prism Tower. And so we do. Honestly, this battle was extremely tough and long because after a health bar, it upgrades to its next form, and the attack patterns get even more challenging. I died a couple of times, but just when I was getting the hang of it, this happened. Nope, it's taken me half an hour to get to this point. I want my bed. I return the next real-life morning to take Zygarde on once more, this time at the level cap. One thing I didn't do was upgrade my Canary plushes to build up my character's defense. And I could have used this for better catch rates on wild Pokemon, but we move. And that was honestly the difference. Not only my team was stronger, but now understanding the attack pattern, it was so much easier. And eventually, ladies and gentlemen, we wither him down and catch Zygarde. All that's left to do now is to simply evolve my Pokemon and get my trades in. Dragonair evolves to Dragonite, but we also grab Sliggoo, Pupitar, and Tyranitar, Crocodile, Galarian Slowking, Florges, and while I wait for it to rain, I catch Drampa, then Harlucha, and when it rains, we grab Goodra, then Vanilluxe, Tyrantrum in the day, and then Amoris at night. And whilst I was hunting for more Eevee, I found the shiny Baneri, which was pretty cool. Before grabbing Espeon, our shiny Baneri evolves to Lopunny, Sylveon, and Umbreon. Last but very not least, my lovely friend Rose traded with me for all of my trade evolutions. These being Alakazam, Machamp, Trevenant, Slurpuff, Aromatisse. Aw, you gifted me a shiny, Rose. Thank you very much, I'm going to keep that now. Gorgeist, and finally Scizor, which completes our Pokédex. And that's it. All the stones have been bought and acquired, which gives us the 100% run for Pokémon Legends ZA. And considering the fact that all the side quests were done, the post-game was done and dusted, and I found 2 extra shinies in the space of 40 hours in total, that's pretty good. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Be sure to hit the subscribe button for more Legends ZA content. But for now, have a look at these. I think you might find them interesting. Well, what are you waiting for? They're right there. Click on them. Come on. I know you want to.